Hello and welcome. My name is Thomas, and in this video we're going to be talking about the Full Focus Planner Pocket Edition. Okay, so if you're a regular viewer of this channel, you know that I am a planner user, particularly of the Full Focus Planner, which I have been using ever since it first came out. Now, for years, I've been using their regular sized Full Focus Planner because that was the only type of planner that they had. And then eventually what they did is they came out with a wide variety of different styles. So this one that I am currently using, or using before the Pocket Edition was released, was the executive version. So it's I think it's 6x9, it's over 200 pages, so it's over 300 pages. So it is not a very small planner, but for me, I've actually personally liked that. I actually like the size and the feel of most hardcover books, and you know, when it comes to a planner, getting something of a similar size isn't a problem. Now, one of the drawbacks of having a planner this size, as I noticed myself as I used to work pretty regularly at coffee shops, was that it takes up a lot of space in your bag. Once you get a laptop, a tablet, and you start getting all the adapters you need to get everything, the bottom line is that it starts to take up a lot of space. Now, I really didn't have much of a problem with the extra space because to me it was worth it. I actually work pretty specifically out of the daily view that you get out of the Full Focus Planner. As you can see from this page, it's pretty well worn. There is a lot of things that are written in there. And so it ended up being like I said, a daily part of my routine to go through and to plan out and kind of course plan my day to ensure that everything from all of my projects and to all of my client work and to all my content creation was staying on track. That's why when I saw that the Michael Hyatt team was releasing a pocket version, it kind of piqued my interest because I hadn't really noticed too much before how big the normal planner is. Again, because I like all that's packed into it. But I thought it'd be interesting to kind of go through and to start experimenting with a smaller planner. And what's interesting is now that I've been going through this particular planner, I've actually found that this is the one that I'm going to be starting to use regularly. So the great thing about the Pocket is that it has a lot of the things built into it that are kind of the core or essential items that you find in the regular sized one. Now, obviously, in order to get it trimmed down to this smaller size, they're definitely going to have to cut some things out. But from what I noticed is the things that they kept were actually the things that I personally rely upon the heaviest. So I use the weekly planning, so the weekly preview, that's still built in. In fact, what's kind of interesting is I kind of like the weekly planning in this version better. It's just more simplistic. When it comes to planning and productivity in general, from my personal experience, the simpler that you can keep your process, the more likely you are to get more things done. Clutter is kind of synonymous with being unproductive, whereas simplicity and being organized is synonymous with being more productive. So this isn't really meant to be like a full-blown, intensive, in-depth review of the planner. All I'm going to kind of point out are some of the key features that I like personally for my workflow, so that hopefully it can help you decide whether or not you should give this little planner a try. Okay, so one of the things that it has built in, of course, is the goal detail view along with the annual view. But one of the things that looks like it has changed pretty dramatically is this streak tracker. So you can go through and you can actually just check things off as you are, like if you're wanting to exercise every day or follow a particular plan or routine or study, whatever it is that you want to mark off on a daily or a weekly basis, you can go through and you can check these off, and it's got them all set up there in a very simple and easy to read format. And then it's got some of the familiar things in there, such as the daily rituals as well as the ideal week, which are handy as well when you're going to be planning out what your weeks are going to look like, or at least what you would like them to, as it suggests, ideally. One of the other things that was an addition that I thought was particularly helpful as well was this portion called key projects. That's something that I kind of do anyways. I list out all of the projects that are currently in process or I'm waiting on, and so this is actually a great way to be able to plan those out on a quarterly basis as opposed to a daily basis. So the key projects is a nice little addition. But for me, where the rubber hits the road really is in the daily view, and I was kind of I was kind of curious to figure out how they're going to tackle that, because the daily view is very important to actually using the planner as your regular daily planner, because it's going to be kind of the roadmap for each individual day. So if you're familiar with some of the videos I've done in the past, you know that one of the reasons why I use the full focus planner is because I sit down every single morning before I answer emails or go through anything else, and I plan out which things I want to tackle that day. I also even created a productivity web app called Radarist, which helps me kind of keep in order all the things that I kind of have in the hopper or on the radar that I need to plan out. So I always go to my radar list. I look at all of the big projects or goals that I want to continue to move forward. Then I go to my planner, crack it open to that daily view, and I list out my daily big three. I pick 3 things that I want to either finish or move forward. So I'll look at, for example, I'm working on a client website, right? So what I'll do is I'll look at my radar list, look at the Basecamp project, look through what needs to be done next. Okay, I need to finish designing this wireframe in order to move it forward and send it off to the client. So I will write that down in my full focus planner. I'll write down the name of the project, and then I'll write out the actual next task that I need to complete in order to move that forward. I'll list that out for 3 different items, and then they always have an extra section down below where you can actually list out the specific tasks beyond the daily big 3 that you want to get done. So I will write down, other projects that need to be moved forward, or little things like, entering expenses or cleaning out my email inbox, or whatever the other things are that I need to move forward beyond the daily big 3. Those are the things that I will then enter in. So the bigger planner, what they have is your daily big 3. Then below that, you've got additional tasks, and there's a separate page that's adjacent to the other side of kind of the daily view that's just dedicated to notes. But what's kind of interesting is I have actually begun the process of switching my daily notes over to my iPad. I've got an iPad Pro with an Apple Pencil, and for the last couple of weeks I've been experimenting with doing my daily notes in that iPad. And so it's actually perfect timing for this new planner, because they combine additional tasks and notes into one section, which is great because you can check it off if it needs action, or you can just put a little star next to it if it's just a note. But in my case, what I'm going to do is I'm only going to use this for tasks to accomplish that day, and for all the notes I'm going to take those on the iPad, because then I can access them on my Mac really easily, and I'm not limited by space. There were some days using this bigger planner where it turned out that a whole page wasn't enough for the amount of notes I needed to take. Most days it was, but in those days when I was having a phone meeting or a lot of ideas that I needed to sketch out, it ended up that it worked a lot better for me just to put those entirely in the iPad, because space is unlimited. The other thing I really like about the daily view as well is that the appointments are kind of shrunk down, and rather than being the whole list of time slots for the day, instead it just kind of has some blank spots where you can kind of write in the time. This is great for me because most days I don't have that many appointments. I have maybe 1 or 2 tops each day, because I tend to use most of my day for design development or content creation. So what that ended up doing for me is it meant that I had this whole column that was blank on that daily view most days, so it was just not being utilized on a daily basis. So as it turns out, it's got more of what I do need and a lot less of what I don't. So it's actually helped simplify, even though it is a smaller planner, the things that they've actually left in are the things that I'd like to focus upon anyway. Then in the back, they've got a whole section dedicated just to notes, which is actually pretty interesting. There's a pretty big chunk of notes in the back that you can use. I probably won't be using these as much. Like I said, I'm going to be mainly focusing upon using my iPad for my daily notes. However, if there was something that you wanted to keep in this notebook, what you could do is you could write down a reference. You could say, check out notes on page whatever on one of your daily notes, and then you could go back and you could kind of use this as a cross-reference. So overall, I think this is a great planner. Actually, what I'm going to be doing is switching over from the bigger planner to this one specifically. So if you already have a planner, or if you're already using the bigger planner, what I would recommend is just order one of these. I went ahead and I just ordered one of these, but what I'm going to be doing is just kind of switching my yearly subscription over to the smaller one. I generally like the fact that it's going to take up less space, but as it turns out, I think this is actually just going to fit into my daily workflow better. Plus, again, the added benefit of being able to slip this into your bag or into your backpack or purse or whatever type of way you like to carry around your stuff. I think that having a smaller planner is going to be great. So I personally am a fan, and I am not an affiliate. I don't have a partnership with them or anything to make these videos. This is just a product that I have used ever since it first came out, and I highly recommend. So check it out. Head on over to the link that I will leave in the description if you'd like to check out this new planner. If you found this video useful, as always, hit that like button, subscribe if you're not already, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Hey, so I get asked all the time how I make my videos, so I decided to put together for you a free 1-hour training, which I'm calling the 7 Pillars of Effective Video. Again, this is totally free, so click the box in the top right-hand corner of this video. You can also head on over to rightly.tv/training. Again, this is totally free. Head on over to rightly.tv/training.